All right, let's head north of the wall today, into a world of ice and mystery, to explore one of the most chilling enigmas in all of Westeros.
The White Walkers.
Yeah, they certainly capture the imagination.
Definitely. And you, my friend, are clearly a Game of Thrones fanatic,
I plead guilty.
which is exactly why you're here, because today we're going deep.
Deeper than a wildling pit in winter.
Huh. That's a good one. We're talking true origins, chilling rituals, the long night.
Don't forget the prophecies.
Right. Prophecies. We've got historical accounts, first-hand observations,
Whispers from those who face them.
and maybe, just maybe, some theories that'll send a shiver down your spine. Ready to take the plunge.
Let's dive in.
So, when we talk about the White Walkers, what truly fascinates you?
It's that they just defy categorization. Are they mindless monsters just hell-bent on destruction?
Right.
Or is there something more, something deeper, something we haven't grasped yet? Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? I mean, the show gave us glimpses, but the more I think about it, the more I wonder what even led to their creation.
Well, the stories, the ones passed down, say the children of the forest created them.
As a weapon.
A weapon of last resort.
Against the first men.
Ah, the first men. Encroaching on their lands, right? Cutting down those sacred weirwood trees.
Imagine their desperation, facing the potential annihilation of their entire way of life.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a desperate situation. Like fighting fire with fire. Or, I guess in this case, fighting humans with ice demons.
It's that desperation that might be the first clue to understanding them. Born from a need to protect, even if it meant resorting to something dangerous, unpredictable. The children tapped into a power they couldn't fully control.
So they kind of accidentally opened Pandora's box, unleashing a force that could destroy everything they were trying to protect. The irony's not lost on me.
It's classic unintended consequences. A reminder that even with the best intentions, wielding power beyond our grasp, well, it can have devastating ripple effects.
Yeah.
No kidding. But let's shift gears a bit to another chilling aspect of the White Walkers. Those symbols, the ones they leave behind. Those spiral patterns.
Oh, you mean the ones made of dismembered bodies?
Yeah, those. Gruesome, right? It's one thing to be killed by a monster, but to be turned into art? Chilling. What do they mean, though? Are they sending a message?
That's the million-dollar question, a real mystery. Some think they're a form of communication, a language we just don't understand.
Language of the dead. Creepy.
But imagine trying to decipher it. A macabre puzzle with horrifying stakes.
Definitely gives me ancient evil vibes.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's that scene with Bran, where he sees the Night King turning that baby into a White Walker.
Right, with the spiral pattern.
Exactly. So maybe the symbols are part of some transformation ritual.
Could be. And if you think about it, these symbols are old. Older than written history.
Wow. So we could be looking at magic that predates humanity itself, connected to the very essence of ice and winter.
It's a possibility.
Okay, now I'm getting chills. Speaking of chills, let's talk about the Long Night, when the White Walkers first descended.
Ah, yes. A time of unimaginable terror.
The stories make it sound horrific.
Imagine a winter so harsh it lasted an entire generation.
An entire generation. Wow.
Darkness covered the land, temperatures plummeted, and the White Walkers, they emerged from the frozen wastelands, bringing death and destruction with them.
It must have been pure chaos. People huddled, scared, while these icy figures stalked the land.
It's during this time you see that the wall was built.
Right, that massive barrier.
To hold back the encroaching darkness, a testament to the fear that gripped the world.
And yet after all that, they just vanish, gone for thousands of years. It's like they just disappeared. Were they defeated? Did they retreat? Or were they just waiting?
Another great question. If they were defeated, why the fear? Why the stories warning of their return? Maybe they were weakened, forced to retreat, lick their wounds, gather strength for another go. Or maybe they're never truly gone.
Okay, now we're getting into spooky territory.
Mm-hmm.
But if they were slumbering,
Mm-hmm.
waiting, what woke them up?
Well, that's a question for the next part of our deep dive. It's a real head-scratcher, isn't it? Their reemergence, like trying to predict the next move in a game where we don't know the rules.
Right, a game with very high stakes.
Exactly. Some maesters believe it's tied to magic, to the weakening of magic in the world.
Interesting. So the same magic that held them back has faded, allowing them to, wake up?
Precisely. If they are tied to magic, then any shifts, any fluctuations.
Could impact them.
Yeah.
Like they're barometers of the magical climate.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if there could be something more to their return, though.
Something more.
Yeah, like maybe a connection to those prophecies, the ones that swirl around Westeros, like snowflakes in a blizzard.
Ah, the prophecies. Always a favorite topic. You see, there are prophecies that hint at a coming darkness, a force that will challenge everything.
Okay, give me an example.
One of the most prominent is the prophecy of Azor Ahai, the legendary hero destined to be reborn amidst smoke and salt, to fight against the encroaching darkness.
Wait, remind me about Azor Ahai. I'm a bit fuzzy on the details.
Picture this. Azor Ahai forging a legendary sword called Lightbringer, and to imbue it with power, he plunges it into the heart of his beloved wife, Nissa Nissa.
Ouch. That's dedication. But okay, so we've got a hero, a magic sword, and a prophecy about darkness. How does this connect to the White Walkers?
Well, ask yourself this. Could they be the darkness the prophecy speaks of?
Whoa. Chilling thought. If Azor Ahai is meant to fight the darkness, and they are the darkness, their return could be a sign that it's all happening.
It certainly makes you think.
It does. And then there's this whole balance of ice and fire thing. Heard it mentioned, but not really sure what it means.
It's a concept woven into the very fabric of Westerosi lore. It's complex.
Lay it on me.
Okay, so think of ice and fire as opposing forces, not just in nature, but in us too. Fire, think passion, ambition, destruction.
Got it. And ice.
Ice, that's cold, unyielding power, ancient, a force that predates humanity.
So the White Walkers, they're like a manifestation of that ancient force of ice.
Precisely. They embody the cold, the unforgiving, the unrelenting, winter personified. And in a world obsessed with fire, with conquest, well, they might just be a necessary counterbalance.
So they're like nature's way of course correcting, reminding us we're not in charge,
Yeah.
that there are forces out there that could wipe out everything.
You got it. And that leads us to the question that has plagued scholars for ages. Are the White Walkers simply villains, or do they serve a deeper purpose?
A force of destruction or correction. It's a question that goes beyond Westeros. Even in our world, we've got climate change, the endless pursuit of power. It's like we're always pushing the boundaries, playing with fire.
And maybe the White Walkers, in all their icy terror, are a reflection of that, a reminder that actions have consequences, that nature has a way of pushing back.
But they are capable of such brutality. The Night's Watch at the Fist of the First Men and Sir Waymore Royce.
Their actions are undeniably terrifying, destructive. But what if those actions aren't driven by malice? What if we simply don't understand? What if their cruelty, as we see it, is just their nature?
That's hard to wrap my head around, like blaming a hurricane for being a hurricane.
Exactly. And that's what keeps the White Walkers so fascinating. They challenge our assumptions, make us confront the limits of what we know. Consider that maybe, just maybe, what we think is evil might be necessary for balance.
I'm starting to wonder if our perception of them as monsters is just that. Our perception. Maybe we're so focused on how terrifying they look that we're missing something.
An intriguing thought. But for now, let's turn our attention to another side of the White Walkers, something more
Human. Okay, human-like White Walkers. Now this is getting interesting. Okay, so we've gone from mindless ice monsters to ancient magic, prophecies, and now a hint of humanity. It's a
Yeah.
lot to process. Where do we even go from here?
Well, let's think about the Night King for a moment.
Okay, the big guy himself.
He wasn't always a creature of ice. He was once a man, one of the first men,
Really?
captured by the children of the forest and transformed into the first White Walker.
Wait, so he was one of us. That changes things, makes them seem less like mythical creatures and more like, well, twisted versions of humanity.
Precisely. And it raises some tough questions. What if that transformation didn't completely erase his humanity? What if some part of him, his memories, his emotions, are still in there?
Trapped inside that icy shell. It's terrifying, but fascinating. Like the ultimate horror story. But, okay, let's say there's a sliver of humanity left. Does that mean we could, I don't know, talk to them? Reason with them?
It's a long shot, sure, but not impossible. The children created them, right? And they were able to communicate, at least to some degree.
So there might be a way, like a key to forgotten language, or ritual that could bridge the gap.
It's a possibility worth exploring.
Now you're talking. I love a good mystery.
Mm-hmm.
But even if we could communicate, how do we deal with the threat? I mean, they're bringing winter with them, and they don't seem too interested in peace talks.
True, their arrival signals a change, a shift in the balance.
Right, a pretty drastic one.
But what if that shift isn't necessarily bad?
Hold on. How could the arrival of ice creatures who bring death and destruction be a good thing?
Think about winter in nature. It's a time of dormancy, introspection, letting go of the old to make way for the new. It's harsh, but it forces us to confront our weaknesses, to adapt, to survive.
So you're saying the White Walkers are like a cosmic wake-up call, reminding us we're not invincible, part of a cycle we can't control.
Exactly. They force us to acknowledge the power of forces beyond our understanding. And maybe, in facing that, we find a new understanding of ourselves, of our place in the world.
Well, it's humbling.
Yeah.
But it also gives me a weird sense of hope, like maybe this isn't the end, but a new beginning, one where we learn to coexist, find balance, instead of trying to control everything.
That's a powerful insight, and maybe that's what the White Walkers represent, the unknown, the untamed, the things that challenge our perceptions and force us to evolve.
They're a reminder that winter is coming, literally and metaphorically.
And maybe, just maybe, that reminder is the key to our survival. We can't just fight winter, we have to learn to live with it, to adapt, to change, to find a way to thrive even when it's hard.
Wow, what a journey this deep dive has been, from fearing the White Walkers to seeing them as potential teachers. Never thought I'd say that.
The world's full of surprises, isn't it? And perhaps the biggest lesson the White Walkers offer is that the more we learn, the more we realize how much we don't know.
They are a mystery, one that will likely keep haunting us, challenging us, inspiring us to dig deeper.
Indeed. The White Walkers are proof of the power of the unknown, a reminder that there are forces out there that we may never fully understand.
Well said. Well, I think that brings our icy expedition to an end. We've explored their origins, their rituals, their connection to prophecy, even their potential humanity. And like any good mystery, we end up with more questions than answers.
As it should be. The White Walkers force us to confront the limits of our knowledge, to embrace the mystery, to keep searching even when the answers seem out of reach.
Couldn't have said it better myself. They are a chilling reminder that winter is always coming, in one form or another. But they're also a challenge, an invitation to look beyond the surface, and to find meaning even in the face of the unknown. So to all our listeners, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the fire burning bright. Until next time, stay warm and keep those minds sharp.